Hey, this is Lynn Graff, founder of Storytelling for Entrepreneurs. Who out there likes to practice? Not many of you, I bet. Maybe yoga, which is a practice in and of itself, and something I love to practice. Interesting, you don't say you are yoga-ing or like running or skiing, you say you are practicing yoga. But I digress. Most of us don't like to practice. We prefer to go out and just do it. Same thing applies when it comes to telling our story. But here's the thing, it's imperative that you practice telling your story. Here's why. First, stories get better the more you practice them. Big surprise, I know, but there's some real mental jujitsu going on in the brain that makes this possible. When you practice, you are literally physically changing the brain. And this is important when it comes to learning something new because you want to commit it to memory. For example, when you present your story for the first time, the brain coordinates a set of complex actions. This involves audio and visual processing, verbal language skills, and even motor functions, triggering a bunch of neurons, axons, and nerves to start moving and then forming. It's like when you're running a wire in your brain to move data. As you practice, you build insulation around this wire, making it easier and faster for that brain to move that data. The faster and more efficient you move this data, the better your brain performs this task and can focus on other things. The other thing that occurs as you practice has to do with brain energy optimization or management. A team of integrative physiologists published a study in the Journal of Neuroscience stating they discovered that as you practice a new skill, the brain starts to use less energy as it commits the skill to memory. Once that happens, the brain can allocate more energy to other activities. So now you can worry less about the content, if you will, of your story, and now you can focus on the delivery of it. This is just like learning any kind of new skill. For example, when I took my first yoga class, it was overwhelming to say the least. They were like throwing new terms at me, showing me crazy poses and describing what it should feel like, all in this rapid fire. It was like drinking through this mental fire hose, trying to process all of this new stimuli. Hence, I decided to take a yoga basics class at a studio here in Austin called Wanderlust Austin. What's up, Wanderlust? The instructor of my first class, Amelia, broke down the terms, poses, and feelings one step at a time. Then she put them back together, showing us what a full flow looked like. A vinyasa is what it's called. One by one, my brain started to comprehend the terms, I got to see the poses, and then I got to experience the feelings individually of what it should feel like. Gradually, as I physically started putting them all together, I was able to experience my first flow, which is a very cool feeling, I must add. It's the same thing in telling your story. Initially, your story is going to feel unnatural, awkward, and stiff, but then, as the memorization kicks in, the brain starts doing its martial arts stuff, and the process starts to feel more natural, effortless, and fluid. You start to develop a rhythm, pacing, and smooth the transition so it sounds and looks more natural to others. Once you get to this point, you can further improve upon it by learning what works and doesn't work. You can identify possible weak spots, points of confusion, and holes in the story you might have. You're also going to be able to manage your time better, tighten that up, and gain more confidence in sharing your story versus delivering a rambling, confusing, and way too long jumble of words that makes you and your audience uncomfortable. Bottom line, make practicing part of your routine as a founder. The better you are at delivering it, the more likely you are to get the things you seek from those you are sharing your story with. Really appreciate your time in watching this video. It's time for me to get on the mat and practice some yoga. Namaste.